Hello and welcome to interest.co.nz. I'm Gareth Vaughan with 90 at 9, where we wrap up the major overnight events in about 90 seconds starting now. We kick off this morning with mixed signals from the world's biggest economy overnight, with worse than expected jobless figures and a separate report offering some optimism on the housing market, with the latter boosting the US stock markets. Firstly, the US Labour Department said the number of Americans lining up for new jobless benefits dropped by 1,000 to 388,000 last week, compared with a Reuters poll of economists that forecast new claims to fall to 375,000. This was seen by some economists as more evidence the US labour market is losing traction. Meanwhile, the National Association of Realtors said contracts to purchase previously owned US homes rose 4.1% to a near two-year high in March. Across the Atlantic Ocean, though, a report from the European Commission suggested economic confidence in the struggling Eurozone fell more than expected in April. An index of executive and consumer sentiment fell to 92.8 from a revised 94.5 in March, and this was compared with economists' forecasts for a drop to 94.2. And concern over Spain's debts and that country's austerity plans helped reduce German borrowing costs. Remember that Germany's seen as a much lower risk country in Europe. Germany's cost to borrow for 2 years dropped to as low as 0.089%, and 10-year German bonds fell 6 basis points to 1.68%, with Germany's inflation rate slowing to a 14-month low. Back here in New Zealand, realestate.co.nz has launched a Chinese language version of its website to help cater for rising Chinese interest in the New Zealand property market. The site has been developed through a partnership with the New Zealand Chinese company hogarden.com. It combines listings from realestate.co.nz translated into Chinese, plus translated news stories covering the New Zealand economy and property news. Well, I'm Gareth Vaughan at interest.co.nz, and that's 90 at 9.